Owen Farrell, a Riath who's taking a break from the Six Nations for his mental health, his family's mental health. He did get a lot of stick in the World Cup, most of it, of course, unjustified. But now this move to Racing 92, which could jeopardise his England chances moving forwards. What do you make of it?
It's interesting. It's obviously been trailed for a couple of weeks now within the rugby press. They knew that this sort of the move was on the horizon. It's landed today. Look, you have to approach this from two perspectives. One of them is Farrell himself. He came out in November. He's taken this break to look after his mental health. He's clearly faced a lot of criticism. He's come under a huge amount of scrutiny, particularly on social media. And so from that aspect, this might be a case of putting himself a little bit of distance away from England and looking for this fresh start abroad. He's at the stage of his career when a lot of players might consider it. But then the other aspect we look at is this growing trend now. There are so many players. I think we're probably up to about sort of 8 recent internationals who've gone over to play in the top 14 in the last couple of years. So it's this huge trend. You then have the question of, will he be eligible for the World Cup because of this rule? They have to be playing over in England to be selected for England. What will it mean for the Lions? It opens up a huge number of questions. What happens, because we are talking about one of the great talents of English rugby. He's won everything there is to win in the game. He's won 6 times with Saracens, 3 Champions Cups. His impact has been absolutely enormous, and for him to be leaving English rugby really is a huge blow.
Martin, the back of the Telegraph suggests that the door might be ajar for a Farrell return because it's a 2-year deal. He's 32 years of age, so, I mean, his body's taken a fair bit of punishment over the time. He's a very physical player. But also, Steve Borthwick, for one, the England coach, has suggested the rules might be possibly changed. What's your take on it?
Well, I think he's got a 2-year deal with the option of a 3rd. So, yes, he could be back for the World Cup in 2027. But as you say, that's a long time. And are England really going to do without him for 2 years and put in a successor and get a new pathway and then sort of go back to him? I can't see that happening. So I think this is very much Owen Farrell basically saying this is the end of my England career. And what happens, I think, now with the British Lions is again it's a big challenge. I know his dad is the head coach, which again is tricky for him. And are you going to pick players, not just Owen Farrell actually, but the likes of Henry Arundel? Are you going to pick them for the Lions if they're not playing for their national team? That's a really big challenge for Andy Farrell.
Yeah, the Riath, we've seen this kind of move before, haven't we, with Johnny Wilkinson, who again, fly half, who did everything in the game, who perhaps a slightly lower profile in France, went over to play for Toulon, absolutely loved his time there, hugely successful, and they loved him. You can see why Farrell is making this move.
Absolutely. I think the Johnny Wilkinson example there is really interesting. He lived and played with so much intensity, and he went down to Toulon. And it really gave him this new chapter in his life, and getting out from under that kind of glare of being an English sporting icon. That was really healthy for him, and he's spoken so positively about it. And I think when we consider what Farrell's obviously been going through with this decision to take a break from international rugby, that's a really encouraging thing. We have to really hope that it follows the same path for him, that taking himself out of that firing line might be the wrong term, but taking himself away from that spotlight, that could be something that's really healthy for him as he attempts to, so I suppose, fall in love with the game again, or certainly the feelings he gets from around the game. And going to France, it's a huge league. It comes with its own expectations and its own pressures, but at the same time, the scrutiny won't be the same as it has been over here.